Hi guys, welcome to this new episode and I hope you all are doing great. So in this episode we're going to demonstrate how we can achieve this modern UI login UI design for our Android applications using Kotlin Jetpack Compose and Material 3. So I hope you stick with me and even code along if you wish to, in order to learn something new and how to achieve this result for your own project. So we'll begin by creating a new project in our Android Studio. It's going to be an empty Jetpack Compose activity, and I'll call this login. Let's just call it login because that's what this design is for. So I'll leave every other thing as it is, and also we'll give this a little time to let our project build. So now we have our project has completed, and first of all let's start with our dependencies, and we only need just one dependency for this project as we're not doing any other thing, we're just designing the UI. So and that dependency is just the Material 3 extended icons dependency, which I'm going to call extended Material 3 icons. So, and it's going to be implementation. So that's all we need for this project. Every other thing remains as it is, and I can decide to change some of these and make this 35 as well, so it will always warn us because I'm still using Koala at this point for this demonstration, and I will change this to 11 as well. So just change that quickly, change this to 11 as well, and once that is done we'll sync our project. So everything is fine now, so we just close this down because we have no need of it. So after that we're going to just all the composables that we're going to need, we'll just put them here because it's also single page demonstration. So first of all, I'm going to remove this because, so if I remove this, and I will remove these as well. So I will remove this. So right here, we're going to create another composable, which is going to be fun login screen. So this login screen is going to take some parameters, so just ignore the warnings for now. We're going to fix all that as we go. So first of all, we're going to have on login click for our login button, and this is just going to be an empty unit. And after that we're going to, let's just put the correct places to take away those warnings. And on Google, because if you look at this picture here, right here, so if you look at this picture here, you discover that the user can also log in using their Google details, Google login or their Apple login. So we're going to create those parameters so that we can assign the function to that. All right, so let's get back to work. So right here we're going to have on Google login click. That's what we'll call this, on Google login click, and it's also going to be an empty unit as well. And also on Apple login click as well. And we're going to have on sign up click because we're going to give them the option to go to the sign up page if they already have an account, if they have not created an account, sorry. And that is also an empty unit. Then also we're going to have on forget password because some people might forget their password during login, and we'll give them the opportunity to reset that password click. Okay, So then finally we're going to have our password visibility, because that we need to have a toggle to make our password visible while we're typing, to make sure that we're typing the correct input. Okay, this is going to be mutable state of type boolean. Okay, so these are all the parameters that we need for this. Then moving on, we're going to use a surface to layer out our login page, and in that surface we want it to fill max width, so we use modifier as usual to do that. So dot fill max size, I want it to cover the whole page. So that's all we need for the surface parameters. Then in that surface we're going to use a column. As you can see from here, we have a column, each item on top of the other, so that's why we need a column to stack it up this way. Right now we're going to use a column, and the column is going to have some parameters. So what we need here is that we need modifier, and we make it modifier dot fill max size, because we want the column to cover the whole page as well. Then we want to also add a general padding or horizontal padding of 24.dp. So we have a horizontal padding of 24.dp. Here we need to import padding. Sorry, we need to import dp, I mean. So that's it. Then we want to set the horizontal alignment for our items. So horizontal alignment, I want it to center horizontally as well. So after that, let's start with creating our header. Let's add some little comment here, header section. Okay, so under it we need a spacer from the top. Just let's add a little bit of height on the top of our column too, because every app has this tab menu for the clock and other notifications. So let's add that spacer, the horizontal spacer there. So it's going to be modifier dot height, and I'll set that to like 48.dp, nothing fancy, right? So after that, the first item we'll have there is that text, the login text. And that login text, let's go to our string and create some string resources. And here we're going to, let me copy this, to also login. Okay, so the next text we'll have, what does it say in that text? Let's have a look. So the text we'll have here says it's time to create something new, so log into your account and start creating. Okay, so and we need to make this test. As you can see, it started from a new line, so we'll quickly do that right now. So right here we'll paste this again. So this one is going to be header test. Let's call it header test. And down here we're going to start. So it's going to show us an error here, so which means it says that you have to escape this apostrophe. So Android in Jetpack Compose or Android Studio in general, the apostrophe is not allowed, so you have to escape it to tell Android Studio that this is an apostrophe. So you use a backward slash for that, like this, and that error is gone. So it's time to create something new, add some excitement to that. So now for us to create a new line, we use the new line space, which is /n, and say login to your account and keep creating. Right, so this is all the string resources that we're going to be needing for this project. So down here, what we'll simply do now is to say test, which is going to be, we'll use string resources to access our test, and this is going to be string resource. So this is going to be r.string here dot, this is login because this is the first one. So now that we've done that, we'll just add some properties to some styling to our test. So the style, let's add some style. What have I done? Stop sheep, that's a comment. Cool, so let's add some style. Material theme dot typography dot headline large, because that's what it's going to be. We need a large headline. Then we'll also add the font weight, and we want to make it bold. So, and after that, the color, let's add some color to that. We want the color to be material theme dot color scheme dot on surface. So whatever the background color is, it should alternate it possibly, but we'll check that out as we go. Okay, so now after that, we have created the first login test, which, can we give this a quick run to see what we have been doing here? What's happening here? Oh, okay, we need this inner padding, and we need to call the login first of all for us to see. So here, let's use a column to add this, and in that column, let's add some modifier dot padding. So we add our inner padding here, so that error is gone. So here, let's call our login screen. Here we're going to have, for this password visibility, we're going to create a variable here that we'll call, remember, that will be password visibility. Just want to, so that we'll be able to see what we're doing. That's why I'm going, this is supposed to come last, but let's continue. So remember savable, and that is going to be mutable state of, and it's going to be an empty string, right? So here we just pass password visibility down here, and that should be it. Why is it giving me an error? Sorry, this is not empty string, this is false, because it's a boolean. Okay, so with this now, we can come down to our preview so that we'll be seeing what we're creating alongside. All right, so here we're going to call our login screen. It says could not find Android X Compose material 3 _ extended icon required by the project. So that means our dependency could not be found. Why? Oh, sorry, I added material 3, it's material, right? So let's sync again. Our build was successful. Let's see, let's build and refresh and see if we can see anything yet on our dependency issues. All right, let's update this, change this to this, and sync again. So I'm using old Android Studio, which is why some of these errors, because some of the dependencies have been upgraded. Okay, so our build was successful. Let's give it a run again. Wow, starting in Kotlin 2.0, compiler Gradle is required when Compose is enabled. See the following link for information. Okay, All right. Okay, I know what the problem is. So we need Compose compiler, which is not in this old version. After this video, I'm going to need to update my Android Studio. You see, there's no Compose compiler here, which is why we're having that annoying issue. So let's add that quickly. So here I'm going to copy this. Okay, so right here we're going to add that alias as well, and I'll copy this like before, and I'll put that here, and I will take this out, and this is going to be Compose. Okay, so let's check if we have Compose here. All right, let's sing this and see if it's gonna do it now. We're still missing something, which is on the lib file, which is on our lib file. Have I opened that before? Yes. So here, under here, we're going to add Compose again. So this is going to be Kotlin. Okay, so I thought that was going to be a very simple one, but unfortunately it doesn't add up automatically for this Koala version of Android Studio. Okay, so let's check it out one more time and see. 1.6 requires grade 0.6 or higher. Sometimes I've tried this before. We'll step this down to 15 and see if it's going to. Let's sing that again, because it's this Kotlin KTS that is conflicting with our AGP. Okay, now we'll have something. It's coming up. Let's see. All right. As you can see, we have our login there, and I think, okay, let's lay out the rest. And I'm thinking, like, I'm not so comfortable with this. The space up here, it looks a bit too much, but let's continue and fix that later. Okay, so now we don't have any errors, it's all fixed. So here we're going to call, if we call our login screen here, so let's copy this and put here and see if we can display as we build. So we'll call password visibility here and see if our preview is rendering well. So right now we don't need to keep running this app anymore. You can see what we're building right here. So after that, we'll have our login. It's now time to add our tests as well. So the header test, right? So let's apply some spacing so that things will not be squashed up too much around here. Add that beneath this, and this is just going to be like 8, nothing fancy. And to be fast, let's just copy the text here and just put it here, so that for time's sake. So right here, this is going to be our login header test. That's what we'll call it. Yeah, so but it's not going to be bold like this. So this is going to be body medium. Start with the size, body medium, and we don't want the font. We just want a normal text, not bold, right? We can add some styling to our text. So we just add text align. We want our text to align to the center. So yeah, as you can see, it's aligned to the center. That's better. So Now that we've finished with our headline text, let's add some more spacer. I know you're tired of my spacer, but we're going to be using it a lot here. So right here, we're going to add a spacer, and this is going to be just 32 dp, because now we're going to continue with our text fields. So after that spacer, let's add some little comment of text fields. Right here, we're going to use outline text field. So first of all, we're going to create our email text field. So I am going to create a variable to remember our email input, which we're going to be using if we have to plug this to our view model and all that later. So this is going to be remember. It's going to just be remember, and this is going to be mutable state of, just to collect the state of the text. So it's going to be an empty string. So right here, we're going to call outline text field, and we're going to, let's set this on a new line to make it cleaner, and push this up a little bit. So what's going to be the value? The value here is going to be email.value. So which is this variable that we've created above here. Then on value change, we just set this is going to be a lambda. We set it to email.value, or whatever value the user have added, and we'll assign that to IT. Okay, so that's our value change. Under that, we're going to include a label. So in our label is going to be a lambda. So we'll add text, and the text is just going to be a string, and we'll call that email. Right? Okay, that's all we need here right now. Then under that, we're going to have our text style. Let's just use it this way for now. Then we'll add a trailing icon, which is going to be that email icon, and this is going to be a lambda. So here, well, I'm going to use a surface because I want to create this visual effect here. Let me show you quickly. So you see in the dark, we'll have this round circle, this circle around the icon, the email icon. So we're going to create that with a surface in order to achieve that particular effect. So what's going to be is that we're going to use a suffix and a box. So in that surface, the surface is going to have some parameters, and we're going to use modifier to create that shape. So modifier dot size, because it's going to be part of our outline text field, we want it to be small. Okay, so we want it to be small. You will appreciate this more in the dark mode. I know our background here is, everything here is white. I don't think Android Studio have that feature. I don't know what all this means, to be honest. But let's try one of these and see if it's going to be dark now. Doesn't help. So I think this changes the color a bit. Let's see if that will help us see what I'm doing here. Dots dp, right? So the size is going to be 40.dp, just enough to cover our icon. So, and the shape is going to be circle shape. Okay, So after that, we need to make it color white, add some color to it. So the background color is white, right? So you see that white color here, you see it stands out because of that little change we did there. So after that, we're going to add a box, so that why I added this box is so that if you don't add this box and you just add the icon, it's going to cover the whole space, which is not what we want. We want just this to be centered. So now we're going to use just content alignment. We don't need this modifier. So content alignment, we want the alignment to be dot center, right? So that's our box parameter. So right now inside the box, it will add our icon. So our icon is going to be image vector. So this icon is going to be icons dot default dot email. I think it needs to load. Yeah, so that's it. So this content description, you just add a screen email icon. Okay, so after that, now it's showing black because we have not added any theme to our project. But if you're adding a theme to your project, maybe you're trying to customize this interface to suit your brand color, if you don't add a tint and make the color unspecified, it's going to take whatever color your theme has, which sometimes doesn't give the effect. So because we've used this surface to have a white background, which means, as you can see from this dark mode, the white background is always there. So why you can't see it on the light mode is because obviously the background is white, but you can still see tiny bit if you look closely the outline right there. So because we have already made that, we want our icon to remain the original color. So that is the reason why I will add a tint here to make it unspecified. So add a tint and we'll set our color to unspecified so that it maintains the original color of the icon without being changed to whatever your theme color is. So that is all done for our trailing icon. So outline text field is kind of in the center. I want to add a modifier here. Sorry, I think this is not the closing for the trailing icon. Okay, this is the closing. So down here we're going to add a modifier, and our modifier dot fill max width. Okay, or not max size, max width. Right, as you can see. So after that, let's add some shape. And also we'll want to make the text, instead of spilling into the second line, we'll add a single line feature and make it true. So then shape, let's give it some rounded corner. So we'll call rounded corner shape. Rounded corner shape, and let's set that to 100. Okay. Yeah, as you can see, it's coming out nicely right now, right? So it looks like what we have here now. Okay, so what we need to do now is just to duplicate this same outline text field, add our usual spacer, or let's see, if I don't add a spacer, let's see what's going to look like. Let's add another text field here. The breathing space is not bad, but let's have a look on our initial design. This looks a bit more better to me. It has better breathing space here. than this. This looks a bit tight, so that is why I will use the spacer again. Okay, let's add the spacer and make it 16 dp, not too big. Let's make it 16 dp, right? Oh yeah, that's better, isn't it? So now down here, this is going to be password. Let's initialize the capital. So after this password, this is going to be password. We'll need to create. Okay, let me just, this is the email test field, so that you know what we're doing here. This is email test field, and down here we have our password test field. So in this password test field, to collect the password, we're going to do two things. We need our icon here, like you can see from this picture, this to toggle it on and off to see what we're typing. So we'll need to create visual transformation for that, to have that effect. Okay, so right here we're going to create to collect the state of what the user have entered. So we'll call this password, right, is equal to remember. So remember, this is mutable state of empty string, right? So under that, we're going to make it visible and invisible. So we'll create another variable here called visible, and that's going to be our password visibility dot value, whatever it is, if it's visible or not. Then under that, we'll create a variable called visual transformation. So visual transformation, we'll set a condition and say if password visibility pwd, okay, password visibility dot value, whatever value it has, then let's create a visual transformation. So that means if it's hidden, let's transform it to visible, but then set it to none, right? So else, if it's not, then we should call password visual transformation function, right? So you see this in action when we run our app. Let's make all these changes. So here, this is going to be password dot value, and also password dot value, right? So now we've created all we need here, and here we're going to call under this, let's call our visual transformation down here. So, and we'll set that to visual transformation that we've created above. So right, so after that, let's now create the same size remains, the shape, everything for the surface with the box as well. So under this, we're going to use an icon button because we want it to be clickable. So we're not going to use we're going to use the icon, but not directly. So let's cut this out. Start with icon button, right? So on click for our icon button, we want, when it's clicked, we set password visibility dot value, and we'll assign that to the inverse of the visible. That's if it's hidden, once we click it, it should be visible to the eye to see what we're typing, so what the user is typing. I think I should close this down to have some space around here. So now on click, let's put this in a new line to make it neater. So let's use modifier now to set the size of our icon, and we want our icon to be 25 dp. That should be a reasonable size. Yes. So inside this now, let's now call our icon. But before we call the icon, we need a condition to, because this icon right here, let me show you. This icon right here is two icons. So when you click it, now it's covered, like it's for the hidden icon. Then when it's clicked, you swap with the visible icon, which shows just the eye without the cross. So that's what we'll need to do here. So cut this all out, set that condition, and proceed. So we'll say if password visibility, pwd visibility dot value, that means it's true. That's if it's true, we should set our icons dot, we're going to use the field icon for this dot visibility. That's what the icon is called. Yes. So when it's true, you set the visibility icon. Else, that means if it's not true, show the hidden icon. So it does icons dot field dot visibility off. That's what it's called. So this is why we needed the extended material icons, because the usual one doesn't have these icons here. So, and that's it. Let's set our content description, and I'll set this to null, right? And after that, I want the icon to retain its original color, and I'll set that to unspecified. And that's it. As you can see now, we have our hidden icon right there. Okay, isn't that interesting, guys? So down here, every other thing remains the same as it is before. So after that, now let's create this row here, right here. We need to create the next row, which is this row right here, where we use a checker to remember me, to help the user stay logged in, so that when next you come to log in, you have all your details filled up in advance, because the system remembers your details. Then also to reset password. So let's create this row here, our outline text field. So after that, let's add our spacer again. I think I still have it in my clipboard, and I'll make this 16.dp. Then after that, for we to have the effect of those two elements, we need a row. Let's call this remember me section. So here we're going to use a row to create that effect, and this row we're going to set some parameters, and which is using modifier to make it to fill the maximum width of the container. Dot fill max width. Right. So after that, let's set some vertical alignment. Alignment.center vertically. And also let's set some horizontal arrangement, and arrangement dot space between. We want just an even space between them. All right. So these are our row parameters, and after that, we'll create the state to collect the state of the check to see if it's checked or not. So we'll create a variable to do that. So we'll call that variable check state, and we'll assign that to remember. So, and it's going to be mutable state of, is going to be false, because it's going to be a boolean. So it's either true or false. It's either it's checked or it's not checked. So first of all, let's create the checkbox. I want to try something out here. Initially, I nested them in a row, but I want to see how that will come out without the row. Okay, just bear with me. We're experimenting here. So check state dot value, whatever value is going to be our check state. Then unchecked change, that's when the user decide to uncheck it. We use a lambda and say check state dot value, and we'll assign that to it. Then after that, let's add some color. Do we need the colors? Yes, let's add some colors. Checkbox default, yeah, this one, dots colors. Here inside here, we're going to set some colors. So unchecked, we want to set the material theme dot color scheme dot on surface. The next one is check mark. I want to add some color to our check mark in case you're using the theme as I mentioned earlier. So dot color scheme dot on surface as well, because I think in the default state it has the default color, so which is whatever your primary color is. So down here, after that, we're going to add the text, remember me. So we'll use the text to do that. Oh, sorry, I think we've put this in the wrong place. Cut this out, clear it up. So under here, we're going to have our text. So, and our text here is just going to say, remember me. All right. So then, and we just want to set the size. So set the style. And we use material theme again. Dot typography dot body medium should be fine for that. Okay, so it has sent it to the end. So now we're going to add a clickable text, which we're going to use to show the clickable text at the end. And under here, let's use clickable text. Yes. So in this clickable text, we're going to use annotated string builder to build our text. So let's bring this down, make it nice and clean. So let's call build annotated string, this one right here. So in that, we're going to use with style, because we want it to have its own color and all that. So the style is going to be span style, and we'll add color. So here I'll use green color because we don't have any theme for this design yet. Then the font weight, let's make it bold, right? Then also let's add some text decoration, which is text underline. It's not showing yet, so because we've not added the text, we need to append the text. So here we're going to call, not here, I think this is the wrong place. All right, so outside the with style, let's add our curved braces and add call append. So this is where we'll append the text, and the text is simply forgot password. This green looks funny, but let's proceed. So you see, now it's true we have a row here, but because I've selected here that we want it to be spaced between, so it's going to space all the text around evenly, and all the elements, I mean, evenly. So you see this, remember me, everything is aligned centrally, which is not what we want. So because of that, we let us enclose this in another row, these first two, the checker box and the text behind it. So which is these two here. I will copy that out and I will set a row here, and paste that in here. Then in that row, let's add, let's add one element, which is to center horizontally, right? So let's add a vertical alignment here, so that vertical alignment, so align center vertically. You see, everything looks as it should. It looks more professional now. Okay, so this is the power of child elements in Android development. So you keep nesting the elements together to achieve, I think I prefer these to XML layout in a lot of ways, but it's about individual discretion. So whatever works for you, as long as you achieve the result you desire, that's the most important thing. So we're going to call our onClick here, and we're going to set it our onForgot password click. OnForgot password. Oh, where are you? Okay, and that's it. So that's all we need for this section right here. So this is the end of our row here. So after that, well, let's add another spacer under here. Do I still undo that? So let's add another spacer under here, and in this spacer we're going to add a height dot height, and the height is going to be 32 dp because we're going to add something new, right? So after that, the next thing we're going to create now is our button, our login button. So let's add another comment here to tell you what we're doing here. Login button, right? So now we're going to call our button class, and as usual, let's set these guys up in a new line. So on our button click, we want on the login click here. Just assign that, and we're going to use a modifier to make it to fill the maximum width again. And after that, we want it to have a height. Of 48 dp. I think that should look decent enough. Yeah, it looks decent enough. Yeah, we need to add some color and set our content color as well. So our colors, we'll call it button default, so that we can set other colors. We'll determine the color of the text dot button colors. We'll determine the color of the items in this button, like the text. So we can say that container color is going to be material theme dot color scheme dot on primary container. Yeah, we need it dark. That's it. Then we want the content color to be material theme dot color scheme dot primary container, so that it will have some contrasting color, right? So after that, we have set our button properties right. Then down here, let's use a text to add the label for our button, and it's just simply, the text is just simply login text, right? Yeah, as you can see, it's showing now. So let's make that, add some style as well to make it stand out a little bit, and we use material theme dot typography dot label large. Should be fine for that, nothing too big. Then let's add some text. Let's add the font size. Let's bring it up a bit. It looks like it's a bit tiny. Font size, I'll make that 18.sp. I need to import SP. Right. So actually it's coming, it stood out a little bit. And let's make our font weight, we want it bold, right? Let's see. Yeah, I think it's more active that way, stands out. So that's our button done, people. Let's add our spacer again because we want this to stand really out well, everything to be evenly spaced. And after that, it's time to create our social buttons. But because before we do that, we need to add a test, like a divider test here, that will say either you log in or you log in with your social links. Okay, so let's add that test down here, and let's add a comment as is our culture. So just all test, that's it, that's all it is. Okay, so down here we'll call this a simple test, just oh no. Okay, so let's add some styling to this just to make it stand out. Style, and we'll set it to material theme dot typography dot label medium should be fine, since we've been using that in a lot of places. And also let's set the color. Do we need color for this? It's fine, let's take the background color, the default color. Then let the font weight, want to make it a bit bold. Font weight is bold. And let's see, I think it's a bit tiny. Let's add some font size as well, and let's see what 18 SP looks like. Isn't it better? Seems like it's now too bogus. Let's make it 16 and see. Yeah, 16 is about right. Okay, so that's our alt text down there, and the next thing is now to create our social login buttons. But before we do that, let's add the same amount of spacer that we have up there as well. So I think I still have it on my clipboard here. So I'll add a little text here. So social. So after that, now because our social buttons, as you can see from our picture here, they are together, so we'll use a row to nest this as well. So down here we're going to use a row to set that, and our row will have some parameter to style what we have in there, and that's going to be modifier dot fill max width, right? So after that, let's set some horizontal arrangement. I want it to be arranged and spaced evenly. So that's all we need for the row parameters. Then down here we're going to use elevated card button. Elevated button, not card. So on click, the first one is Google click. So after that, we use a modifier to set the height of the button, and let's set the height to 48.dp. So we'll set the color to button default dot button colors, elevated button colors. That's the one. Okay, so down here we're going to set our container color. So our container color is white. Then now we set our icons. So this icon and the text in there will determine the size this is going to occupy. So right here we'll use icon, use the painter one, because we need to download the icons that we're going to use, because this color icon here, we can't get that in Android Studio, this Google icon. So we need to go to this free website called Favicon. That's where I get some of the free icons I use for this demonstration. Yeah, flat icon, sorry, that's my bad. So here, let's look for Google icon. So you see, this is the one I prefer to use. So free download. So here is our icon now. Then Apple, let's check Apple. Yeah, this is just the basic icon, nothing dramatic. Okay, so but remember to attribute this if you're going to use this for a production app, so that you won't be in big trouble. So I'll copy that into our Android Studio so that we can proceed. Right now we have to refactor this because the naming is not what this should be. We don't use hyphen, we use underscore here. Okay, so that's fine, the error is gone. Right, so down here now we're going to call this image and we'll call painter resources. Yeah, painter resource, and this is going to be our drawable the first one is Google. Yeah, so that's our icon right there. So after that we set this to, let's just call this Google icon, and after that let's set our modifier to set the size. You see now, because of the theme, it have made the icon to change. It has changed the color of the icon. Once we set a tint for our color and make it unspecified, we should be able to see the icon. Hopefully it's not showing yet. Why? Let's run the app and see if it's going to show. It can't render the icon. Let's see. Okay, so you see our icon is showing here and is also showing on the app itself, so everything is good, right? So now let's add the extra text. Down here, let me add the spacer. So this is going to be just width because it's just in a row. So let's add the spacer, just 16.dp spacer here. That should be enough. So now we add a text, right? And we should add some styling as well for that. And let's set some font weight. I want it bold. Yeah, so and after that let's set some color. I want it to be black because we have a background that is white. I want it black all the time, right? Then let's set the font size. Let me set the font size to 16 and see if that will make any sense at all. Yeah, 16 is better. It stands out. Yeah, so this is our social button, the first one done. So within our row, I'll copy this and duplicate that. But here, this is going to be Apple logo, and our text here is going to be Apple icon. So and our text here is going to be Apple. Yeah, so that's it. Our social buttons are looking nice and clean, right? So what else do we have to create? Okay, the final part, that's the text underneath. So let's add another spacer right here. Where do we close our row? This is our row scope, I guess. So yes, this is our row scope. So underneath that, let's add a spacer and add some height to that and make this height, let's make it 32 dp, right? So after that, we're going to create a var. that is, let's add a little test, sign up. Let's use a val to create our sign up test. Sign up test is equal to build to create our annotated string, because part of the test is going to be highlighted to show the user that this is a button, right? So that's why we're using this. So with style, and we set up our style, it's going to be span style, and we set our color, and after that, let's append the first test here. Let's call append, and our test is going to be do not have an account yet. Under here, we use with style again, and we'll set our style to span style, and we'll set our color to green again. So the green looks very funny, quite funny. So, and after that, let's make it bold and add some font weight so that the user knows this text looks different. That means it must mean something. That's the intention. So then down here, let's call append, and let's add the test sign up. Okay, so now that we've created our variable, we need to use clickable text to display our test down here. So this is going to be our sign up test. That's what we call it. As you can see now, our test is showing. After that, we're going to set on click. On click, then we'll set on sign up click. On sign up click, yeah, that's it. Let's close this and braces and see. Okay, that solves it. So guys, there we have it. Our design is live and active. So you can type here, you can type here, and you can toggle this on and off, right? You see, everything is working as it should. Then our buttons are responsive until we set them up with our view model for using this to build a complete app. So there you have it. Then our checker is also working. You can toggle that on and off. So, and this is the dark mode of our design. If we go to our settings, we can also change to bright mode. Let's do that quickly so that you see what it looks like. So we'll go to display, we'll toggle the dark mode off, then we'll go back to our app. You see, so you see it's very responsive. The text are changing according to the app theme that we're using, and that's it. Your modern UI login UI design with Jetpack Compose. So I hope you learned something, and I will see you on the next one. Cheers.